Happy Lee Day to you. You know, I can sense your excitement at the Lee Day experience, and I can feel you guys' excitement as well through the virtual means. You know, it's so cool to engage in this time, even though it's so much different on campus right now.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned that, campus is definitely weird without students here. It's so quiet.
That's true. It's wild. You know, in like Medlin, you know, I'm not used to it being like 24/7 quiet hours all the time. It's kind of crazy.
That's the same for Sonora. And I feel like now you can travel to Dos Bros or Target in 10 minutes, where it used to take like 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's real. And speaking of like, you know, food places and getting to food fast, I was walking by the SMC the other day and I noticed there's no line in Dunkin'. And then I remembered, oh yeah, Dunkin's closed, so that's why.
So sad, so sad. Well, even though we're making light of this situation, in all seriousness, we miss you guys. And today we just really want to take some time to just really talk about things that we can be doing to prepare ourselves to come back together this fall.
Yeah, because, you know, ultimately, we just want to make sure that we're able to get you guys back home. And so we're going to talk about a few things like advanced class selection and housing and financial aid. But something that we really want to talk about that's been so pertinent and prominent during this pandemic season, triple Ps, that's what I said, but has been this idea of connection. And so, Hannah, I just want to ask you, what has it been like for you to maintain connection during these times and still maintain those deep relationships?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, you know, I think it's definitely been a season of really making sure that I am doing that. I know isolation for me is not always the best, and living in Sonora right now without my students can be lonely, but I've had to be really intentional with my time of just making sure I'm calling my family and texting them and FaceTiming them and seeing their faces and checking in on them. But it also looks like having long FaceTime conversations with friends that live in other states, or I'm calling a friend and just walking around campus and talking to her. And it's just been really good to just dive into conversations with friends that I don't normally get to because I am so busy a lot of the time, or I make excuses for that. And so just being intentional with the time that I have and really getting to just be in connection with friends that are far away. And it even looks like I have friends that live close by, and so they'll come to campus and we will definitely keep our social distancing, but we make TikTok videos to just have fun and to relieve stress, and so it's a good time.
Yeah, I've noticed your TikTok game has been pretty strong lately, so props to you on that.
Thank you. But what about you? How have you continued to build deep connections?
Yeah, I'd say it's been pretty similar for me. I think kind of the same way that you're talking about staying engaged with family and friends and making sure to reach out and maintain those connections has been so cool. Additionally, I've had the chance to get involved in some groups at church, some different small groups that we have going on, as well as continue some of the groups that I was a part of before all of this went down, you know, after spring break. So like this Be the Bridge group that we've got going on that's focused on racial reconciliation, which I know you've been a part of.
Yeah, so what does that look like in those groups that you've been a part of? How has that been with social distancing and being virtual? What has that been like for you?
Yeah, great question. I think something that's been wild is just the way that all of this has caused me to take a step back and really recognize where have I not been valuing those interactions as much. So I think about how I used to walk, you know, down or across campus and just run into someone I know and just say, hi, how's it going? But keep walking before I even hear it, right? But times like this has really caused me to really, you know, when you have to intentionally set up these conversations, you really have deeper conversations naturally because you ask, like checking in on people, seeing how they're doing, and talking through that because we're all kind of going through this together. And so, you know, conversations like that, as well as with all the free time that you had mentioned, you know, with the church group and different groups, what's it like to take all this time and like do a Bible study together? And so I've had the chance to do things like that, as well as book studies. And I know that's something that we've been going through and having conversations on with this Be the Bridge group that I mentioned earlier, just kind of diving into those deeper conversations. in that way.
Yeah, I know specifically with that small group, I have loved, one, that you've led that, but also we've continued to do that virtually with students. And I know I have learned so much through those hard conversations. And like you said, it's about racial reconciliation. And so I think that's not an easy topic. And, I think that that's something that we can be doing to prepare for next semester is, okay, how can we continue to have these hard conversations so that when we get back, we can serve and love those around us so much better. And I know that I hope and pray that that's what I do from this group and just what I've learned from you and from the students that have been in that group with us.
Yeah, that's so cool. Even just thinking about this idea of being back together, right? And coming back in the fall. And, with Lee Day going on as well, it's so much looking forward. And so in thinking about that, we have the ending of the semester, we have getting through the summer, and then graduation, which I know you're excited about, graduating with your master's, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that just makes me ask, what are you looking forward to the most come fall?
Yeah, that is a really good question. Like you said, I'm definitely excited for graduation. Shout out to my seniors out there and people graduating with their masters. I know you are excited, and I am excited as well. I also think that I'm really excited for move-in day in the fall. That's my favorite day. I tell my RAs that it's like the night before is like Christmas Eve because of the anticipation of just welcoming new students into our Lee family. So I'm really excited about that. And of course, Dorm Wars. I'm so excited about Dorm Wars. It's one of my favorite days. I just cheer my heart out and I won't be able to hear the next day. But I'm hoping that Sonora will bring the win home again, maybe. We'll see.
Sonora with the repeat, and hopefully Medlin brings it back next year. All right, guys, I'm looking at you. But that's so real. And, in thinking about next year and bringing you guys back home, we did want to talk about a few resources and offices that could help you out along the way. And so, because ultimately we want to make sure that this transition back, it goes smoothly and effectively, and that you guys are all ready to jump back in come fall. So first thing I want to note is ACS, Advanced Class Selection. So if you have not had the chance yet, make sure you contact your advisor to set up a time so you can schedule out your semester and get that organized. And if you have any questions, make sure you contact the records office and they'll be able to hook you up.
Yeah, and the second resource is the Residential Life and Housing Office. So if you have questions about moving out or questions about your housing for next fall, feel free to email housing@leeuniversity.edu.
Yeah, and of course we want to talk about finances because, we want to make sure that we're keeping track of all of that. So if you've got any questions about your refunds or anything like that, you can contact the Student Financial Services Office at sfs@leeuniversity.edu. I said sfs@leeuniversity.edu. Additionally, if you have any questions about financial aid, you can contact the Financial Aid Office, and they'll be able to talk to you about scholarships and endowments and that sort of thing. So make sure you contact those offices.
Yeah, so the main message for today is that we miss you all so much.
It's true. It's so different without seeing you guys here. But, I can't wait till you're all back here in the fall and I see you walking down through campus and eating in the caf together and causing a ruckus in Medlin. We're so excited to get you guys back here because we miss you. And we can't wait to see you back here for sure.
Yeah, and we also don't want this episode to go by without acknowledging that many of our students with families in Alabama, Mississippi, Northern Georgia, and even right here in our backyard of Chattanooga and Cleveland are going through hardships that were affected by the tornadoes and the storms. And so we just want you to know that we are praying for you and that our hearts are with you in this time.
Yeah, and I think we think it's a great idea to just go ahead and make sure we end this time in prayer because, I think about how Dr. and Mrs. Khan led us in a call to prayer on Wednesday. And so how fitting would it be for us to gather together and connect with one another and with our Creator together in this prayer time. So if you don't mind, would you pray with us? Dear Heavenly Father, God, we're so grateful for the fact that you're a God who loves us so deeply, who created each of us distinctly and individually, and you know the desires of our hearts, you know our needs, God, you know everything about what we're going through during this season, God, and we just are so grateful for who you are, your love for us. God, as we're in this time, we just want to pray over the different families that were affected and have been devastated by these really difficult season, whether that be with the COVID-19 or with the tornadoes that have hit or various other terrible situations that people are finding themselves in. God, I pray that you are helping us to be aware of your presence in each of these. God, that you're helping us to be aware of your love for us, God, and that you are our comforter in these times, God, that you just wrap each of us in your love, God, and that we're able to continually look to and find our hope in you, God. Lord, and so we just pray that you are preparing our hearts, God, in this season for what's to come and the amazing things that you're going to continue doing, and that you continue giving us the ability to see the light in the tunnel, God, in the darkness, God, to see hope in the little things during this time, God. We're so grateful for your love and so grateful for the ways that you're going to move beyond anything that we can comprehend in this season, Lord. And so it's in your Son, Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us with today's episode of Lean Live. We hope to see you together soon, and we will catch you later. Bye.
Bye.